On this week's episode of the Print on Demand cast, we have Drew Wilson with us, and we're going to talk a little bit about Kittl. Let's get into it. Welcome back to the Print on Demand cast. Print on Demand cast universe, multiverse, all of you out there listening, hey, do us a favor. Whatever platform you're using to listen to this show right now, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google, whatever that is, leave us a review, hit the subscribe button, share this episode with people who you think will benefit from this information, and we greatly appreciate it. And who is we? Well, as always, my co-host for this show and every show, Travis Ross at Make Your Mark Design, where it is perpetually 2:35 for the last multiple number of episodes. He's kind of stuck in a time warp of sorts, but he's here and he is with us right now. Travis, happy Tuesday. It's a Tuesday that we're recording this. How's your day going? And what's new? What's new with you?
It's been a busy day, but it's a good day. We just finished recording this interview that you're about to hear, and it was freaking great, man. I really enjoyed it. Drew's a super cool guy, and Kittl is way cooler than I even realized, and I'm really excited to go check it out.
Yeah, for sure.
Very soon. Yeah.
I mean, it's a really cool story that how he talks about. I mean, he works for Kittl, but he didn't get into print on demand until he started working for Kittl because it was so easy. So if you're listening and you're thinking, man, how can I get into print on demand? How can I get into the design game in a way that's easy? This is your episode. You're going to want to listen to it because he's got a lot of fantastic insight to share. And so we're going to go straight to it. We're going to get straight to the interview. This week's main event, our interview with Drew Wilson from Kittl. All right, Travis, excited for what we have for this episode's main event. We have a guest with us here. He's here, but not in the frame. So for those of you listening and watching, he can see and hear everything. So that's why we're going to be... We've got Drew Wilson with us from Kittl. So a little bit about Drew before we bring him on the show. He is a community manager and YouTube content creator for Kittl.com, an easy-to-use design tool that works right in your browser, especially for print-on-demand creators. That's convenient because he's on the Print on Demand cast. Drew mainly creates helpful tutorials and educational content for the YouTube channel, teaching users how to master Kittl and make more money with their creative projects. So I'm excited to welcome to the show Drew Wilson. Drew, thank you so much for joining, man, and welcome to the Print on Demand cast.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's enough. The studio audience.
Thanks for the clapping and the bringing me on, and that's and I feel super famous now.
You'll feel, awesome. Or you'll realize very quickly that we have just a whole bunch of sound bites and ridiculous bumpers and just all kinds of things that are completely unnecessary, but we do them because it's our show and we can.
That's true.
Sure. Yeah.
But really glad to have you on, Drew. Kittl is such a cool tool, and it seems like it kind of came out of nowhere. It was like it wasn't around, or at least I didn't know about it. And then like everybody was talking about it, and it was really cool. So to start off, let's just, tell us about your print on demand story. That's the question we ask everybody. How did you get into design, and, how did you get into Kittl, and just kind of give us some of your background?
Yeah, what's crazy is I don't even think I had really heard of print on demand before working at Kittl. It might have been on my radar. I think I had heard of Printful before because I was asking another creator of mine how he was doing these banners. We were both lettering artists, and I noticed he was selling this on a banner. I was like, dude, are you making these banners like yourself? And he was like, no, I use Printful to do this like cool flag thing or whatever. And I was like, oh, cool. So, but right around that time, I had actually started doing some kind of side work with Heritage Type, which we still have Heritage Type. Heritage Type and Kittl are connected, which is a type foundry. Heritage Type is a type foundry where we sell fonts. And they had kind of laid out the master plan for what Kittl will be and how easy it'll be. And then the overarching grand master plan, which is print on demand, making this so much easier for creators to make their designs and list them. And so how I kind of got started or connected was I was actually just a consumer of some of the amazing fonts that we sell at Heritage Type. I bought some, I was using them for some projects. I was sharing them in kind of like Heritage's community. There, I was doing some videos on my own personal YouTube channel, my little, I call it my baby channel because it's still kind of small. But I was doing some tutorials because I noticed there wasn't any tutorials on how to use or install or like use the glyphs or use all this crazy stuff. And they found those videos and asked, they were like, do you want to just make videos on our channel for us? Which was awesome, which was super, super cool. And so I started doing that. But really didn't do that for too terribly long because they had, you know, said, well, Kittl is actually going to be the grandmaster plan. So somewhere in making videos for Heritage Type and showing you how to use like Illustrator and Photoshop and stuff, we just stopped and we started bulk making Kittl videos so that we could like have the channel go up and start showing everybody how to use Kittl and stuff. So yeah, that's kind of how I got started.
So you were a designer then prior to Heritage Type and Kittl. You were doing design work yourself?
Yeah. So I was actually, before I'm full-time for Kittl now. Before I was actually a UX creative specialist at an agency here in the States. And so I was doing design. Yeah. I had gone through, I didn't go to school for design, funny enough. But I did take quite a bit of courses and things online, fell in love with typography specifically. And from there worked up to web design because it was really interesting to me. And so I was building websites and platforms at an agency, and then was doing my own little kind of YouTube on the side when 2020 hit, of course, as so many did. I feel like so many of my friends that I've met through Kittl, other collaborators, are all 2020 YouTube babies. Like, it's pretty crazy how that works.
Yeah. Everyone just went to YouTube and started making videos because we all had time on our hands and there was nothing else that you could actually do in the outside world. And so it was a necessity is the mother of invention. And so people went.
That's when we started this podcast.
Really?
You know,
it's true.
In 2020. Yeah. And that was, it was basically just, it was kind of the show we wish we would have had when we started in print on demand.
Nice.
You know, that was what we were going for, you know. So whether or not we've accomplished that, I don't know. I can't ask my, you know, past Travis if this was good or not for him, but you know, anyway. So let's talk a little bit more about Kittl. I mean, you referenced the fact that you know, come from a UX, you know, user interface background, and Kittl has a freaking phenomenal user interface. It's I mean, it's really impressive, just everything that you can do on the web right there in your browser. And so I guess the easiest kind of softball question is, you know, what exactly is Kittl? And then why is it so perfect for somebody who, you know, listening to the show that's doing print on demand as a business?
Yeah, absolutely. So Kittl, as you kind of have mentioned in the intro, is a design tool that will work right in your browser. Okay, so there's no need to try to download anything else. It's a subscription-based platform that works in your browser. Of course, we have a free version, you know, albeit limited, but it's for seeing if Kittl is going to be right for you, just like anything else is. And what we really designed it for was for those people that are super struggling with Adobe Illustrator, Photoshop, Affinity Designer. The bar of entry for those platforms are very high. Now, they're fantastic platforms. Of course, I still use them, of course, but they're just difficult to figure out. The time of investment you have to make is quite large. And so we wanted to create a platform that takes all of our knowledge, all of our designers and creators and developers knowledge into one place where you can have tons of fonts, tons of illustrations, and tons of world-class templates that you can just immediately start using. No need to try to buy an Illustrator file of templates and download them and then try to open them and then realize you need Adobe Illustrator. And then you got to figure out, right? So this is all the bar of entry we've made super, super low for this.
Sure.
And then the reason it's so great for print on demand, I think, is because there are so many essential features you need. Like we have DPI control. It's right there. When you go to the download settings, you have full capability to make that versus trying to figure out how to file and export from Illustrator or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, we have a mockup feature already in Kittl. Go ahead and create your thumbnails or your mockups for Etsy or whatever right in Kittl. No need to leave, right? We have tons of illustrations. We have an image vectorizer where you can vectorize in color now. All these different features that we know are important to both like a seasoned designer. So I want seasoned designers to feel comfortable, but I want super new beginners that are like, I think I can make money in print on demand because I know this niche or this niche is important to me, but I don't have the technical skills to use a design tool. Well, that's what Kittl's for.
Yeah, and you were saying too before we kind of pressed record, because we were kind of going over the show map and some questions that you made a point to say, guys, I don't really know how to answer the first question because I'm not really I didn't get into POD. I just found Kittl, but as a result of Kittl and its ease of use and the things that it can do, you now are starting to dabble in POD a little bit. So tell us a little bit about that. How has that kind of gone? And I think honestly, that's a big of a testament as any POD story is, especially for those that are listening, thinking about getting into POD. You're talking to someone who, you know, worked for Kittl and ended up using it to leverage POD. So tell us about how that's been going as far as what you've been dabbling in and what kind of made you think, well, I might as well give this a shot.
Yeah, I mean, we had known kind of from the beginning that this was a thing we wanted to target's not the right word, but these are the people that we had in mind making Kittl for is print on demand and just the way that you can do it. But of course, we don't, I mean, of course, you can make your logos, you can make your social media graphics, you can make your whatever. We're adding so many more templates and so many more features for whatever design project you want. We just know that it's going to help the people that are doing print on demand. So for me, it's the reason that I was like, let me go ahead and start was because one, I was doing so much research on print on demand after we decided that this was going to be our target audience was people that are either struggling with print on demand or want to take it to the next level. I think that's also important is they're doing it, but they don't know how to take it to the next level. And I've interviewed so many people that are just masters at print on demand. My friend Juna at Detour Shirts, my friend Heather over at Heather X Studio on YouTube doing amazing print on demand with Etsy. Like I've just been learning so much from them and then taking their tips and formulating my own videos with kind of bite size, like, hey, if you're trying to get started, here's a good way to do it, as well as just making videos myself, like for Kittl, saying like, hey, here's a feature that you might not have thought about for print on demand. So as I was collecting all of this information, I also wanted to make sure that I know what the back ends of things look like. I want to start doing more tutorials that are in depth. I take you into Printful, I take you into Printify, I show you how I made it in Kittl, I show you how I put it in there. And so for me, I think that using something like Kittl for my own personal print on demand has been, it's really about speed. Like I don't personally, I help create some of the templates that you'll see and use on Kittl, but I don't personally show what I'm making for personal stores because I don't want a ton of people to go look at it and then make my views go up and then no sales, right? It's not a good conversion rate. But for me, I use it because it's so fast. Like as a designer, as a previous UX designer, like I rarely open up Illustrator or Photoshop ever now. In the last year and a half, I've maybe done it a couple times. And if there's a side project I'm doing where I need to do some hand drawn something, of course, I'll use Illustrator. But in terms of anything I'm going to make, whether it's a shirt or a hat, or like I have my own little business where I go and I do pop-ups, I'm using Kittl because I can manipulate the type so much faster. I can find an asset. I have Kittl AI now, so I can just decide what I want to make, and I can just type in a prompt, make it. Like I don't. We call it kind of a one-stop shop. I don't need to. If I open up Illustrator and I try to do that, I got to have like an Envato account or a Shutterstock account and go find all my stock graphics. I got to download them. I got to buy my fonts. I got to do right. So that's why I use it for my own personal print on demand. And yeah, I mean, there's countless features.
That's really cool. I mean, yeah, that's like just I said, that's kind of a testament to the power of the product. That's really cool. So you've touched on a whole lot of different things, specifically, inside of Kittl, like features and things like that. And in fact, before we started recording, you mentioned the fact that, hey, this is an audio podcast. We're not like, opening up Kittl on the desktop and manipulating it. And so it's kind of hard to put into words some of the cool things you can do without visualizing it, on a screen. But do your best and tell us some of the cool things, like give us some of your favorite features, I guess, that Kittl has to offer.
Okay. Yeah. So I would say first and foremost, and this is just as someone that absolutely loves type, and I think type is extremely essential for a lot of designs, unless you're doing kind of just a baseline illustration design, maybe, or a graphic tee that's just like a giant tiger or something. If we talk about just type for a second, the way that you can manipulate type is so much easier in Kittl. And what I mean is, like, if you want to distort the type, you want to make it a little wonky, you want to make it a little curvy, you want to give it that vintage rise effect, you want to give it an arched effect, like that collegiate, university style, whatever. One click. It's one click. And I know that, people that are listening, just visualize that. Like, visualize you clicked it and it's done. There's no going up to edit, transform, distort, transform, enter 30 steps. Okay, that doesn't look quite right. Let me change the illustrator, right? It's one click and there's a slider and you can decide how much intensity you want. And then if you don't like that, we give you the ability to then hit edit on the text if you are comfortable, if you're an advanced designer, and you can go in and you can play with all those nodes. So that's one thing that I think speaks volumes, is just type, because type is so important, right? It's the clothes that your words wear. Like you have to be able to manipulate type well and correctly. And some things I mentioned as well before was our illustration library that we're constantly adding to: elements, textures, Y2K elements, grunge effects, watercolor splashes. You can type in whatever you want. There's a search bar, you type in the element or the illustration that you want, and it'll come up. And then if you can't find it, you go down to Kittl AI, you can input a prompt, things like that, as well as our mockups library, which we're constantly adding. We're listening to feedback in our Discord. We're listening to feedback on YouTube saying, hey, can we have comfort colors mockups? Hey, can we have different mug option, mockups, all this stuff. So we're constantly adding to that. So that makes it super valuable for print on demand. I mean, and as well as the templates. Like, if you just don't know what you're doing or how to get started, you go to the homepage, hit the search bar and type in mushrooms or type in rockstar or type in whatever and see the templates come up, and then you start playing with it and mess it with that way. I mean, there's just, I don't know. There's countless. I feel like I don't want to give away too much of the secret sauce, because I just want someone to go play with it. Right. I could sit here and list all of the whatever, and then you sit there and weigh the pros and cons. And it's like, there's some spice in there. There's some spice in Kittl that you should just go play with.
Well, speaking of that, you actually, we talked about this before. We have a printondemandcast.com/Kittl affiliate link that you guys have been kind enough to give to us. But someone in our Facebook group asked about, a trial, because they want to play with the pro version, not just the free version before they, and you mentioned that we're gonna put a code in the show notes. We don't have it yet because we literally just found out about it. We're gonna put a code in the show notes that for a limited time, you can go and you can sign up for Kittl. You can use that code and you'll get a free trial, basically. And I don't know how long it's going to be, but it's going to be there, and it's going to be a limited time. I think I think this will come out tomorrow on the 26th, and that code will only work for about 7 days from what I understand. So you need to get over there. You need to sign up. You need to check out the pro and jump in, like Drew's saying, and really, just test it out and see what it can do. And maybe even go over to the Kittl YouTube channel and
Yes.
check out some of the things that Drew's doing on the show, or, on the channel over there, and try some of those effects, and, try manipulating some of those those fonts, and, see what you can come up with. Cause it really is a powerful tool. And I will say, I think the AI or the mock-up part of Kittl, that's relatively new. You've only done that or had that for a few months. I remember seeing that somewhere, and maybe doing a Facebook post or putting it in a newsletter or something like that, to kind of let people know, hey, they're doing this now. So I know at that point you didn't have a ton of mock-ups,
right?
But you guys are really making that even better every single day, adding more and more mock-ups, like you said. So there's just so many freaking things that you can do with this software. So guys, go to the show notes, get the code printondemandcast.com/Kittl, and you can check it out for yourself.
Perfect.
So you mentioned a feature in there that I'm curious about, and that's the AI product generator feature.
Okay.
Yeah, so because AI, we talk about AI a lot on here, ChatGPT, and then Photoshop has their new generative fill feature, which is just absolutely wild,
bonkers,
crazy cool. So AI, we're always kind of keeping a pulse on how it's going to infiltrate the print on demand business, the design business, how it's going to change the game, what it looks like. So what does that look like in the Kittl sphere, the Kittleverse? There's a phrase.
There, dude. That's the second time I've heard that. That's good. That's good.
How does that work in the Kittleverse? What does that look like for you guys as the AI product generator?
Yeah, so the AI product generator is super new. We just released it, I think, last week. So we've had Kittl AI for a little while, okay, and that's your typical AI art generator. Now, what's special, if I can just talk for a second about the Kittl AI, is that we can actually do text to vector. So we have a whole category of, if you want to type in a prompt, and you can select from presets, and we have vector presets like streetwear. We have a streetwear vector preset. So if you type in grungy weightlifting dumbbell something or another, and you hit generate, it'll give you a vector graphic that you can scale and change colors, as well as all the other preset things. It's very similar to anything else, Midjourney, Leonardo, whatever. You type in a prompt and you get a preset. I feel like ours is very special because we can do vector.
Yeah, that's cool.
Now the product generator, which is also AI, is going to be super vital for, I feel like, two specific audiences that I have in mind. One is, of course, print on demand in whatever shape or form that looks like. And two are the people that still have their own goods, and maybe they have a Shopify store or their own custom Etsy store, and they actually have a physical product to show. Now the way the AI product generator works is it's its own separate page. It's its own separate editor on Kittl that you can easily click to and get. You can upload. If I took a picture of this mug, which I know none of you can see, but you guys can see it that are on, if I took a picture of a mug, so go ahead and think about that. If it was sitting on a wood picnic table or whatever, the mug with your design, you just upload it to the product generator. It will perfectly remove the background. And then we have a preset amount of backgrounds that you can select and hit generate, or you can type in what background you want it to be on, and it will generate several versions of your product on different backdrops, which then saves you tons of times on mockups. You don't have to go buy mockups or scan place it, which I do for hours sometimes.
Me too.
Forever, dude. Like, place it is fine, but it's like hunting for gold. So yeah, if you're selling like a specific candle, right, and you take one really nice photo and you're like, great, I have one photo, but I don't have a marble countertop, I don't have a granite counter, I don't have a wood, but you want it or whatever, or you want to type in, show it surrounded by flowers, upload that picture, do it, and then now you have tons of different product photos, product listings where you can duplicate your products seamlessly, fast, and AI is doing it for you.
Yeah, that's That's awesome. That's really cool. I have a one other question that's kind of off script, and
Excellent.
I don't know, it might put you on the spot a little bit. If not, if it doesn't, or if you guys have already done this, that's awesome. If not, it's a feature request. Okay, so here goes.
Sweet.
So one of the things, you know, that we run into, I think in print on demand a lot is, especially when you're doing like t-shirts, you've got,
Okay.
you know, you want to show the mock-up on all the different colors of shirts that you're actually, you know, selling.
Correct.
Is there a way in Kittl where I can say, okay, put it on this t-shirt design, and then, you know, I want it in these 5 colors, and even better yet, somehow getting the hex codes from Bella and from Gildan and from Haynes, and, you know, and saying, I want the evergreen from the 3001.
Yep.
I want the, you know, all of those things, and selecting those to where, bam, it'll just output. Tell me that's something it can do.
It's coming. Yeah, I already requested that a long time ago. Yeah, so Juna said the same thing. I don't know. You guys know Juna?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been on the show.
Okay, great. Yeah, he's amazing. That was the first thing he said. I mean, he's been with us for a long time. And as soon as we did mock-ups, that was like the immediate email I got, which I already knew. So we are trying to basically give more editing feature to the mock-up tab, and this is, I can't promise any timelines. I don't know, you know, that's on our developers timeline, so I can't say like end of August. I don't know, you know, but I know it's being worked on. So you'll have kind of like presets for the colors, right? So that you would click it, you would just right now it's just the window that you open up for the color, and you can type in a hex code now if you want, or you can just search and find a color in the mockups if you want. But there will be kind of like what looks like a document palette that says Bella Canvas, and then all of the standard ones you can get from Printful or something, right? That you would just click through. And then the next step after that would be something where you're describing, which would be something like automation, where you can just hit download the 20 colors. Because that would be a little bit later. But because I mean, personally, I don't like listing products with every single color, because I'm making super specific designs, I guess, for like 5 colors. But yeah, you would be able to select the color that most accurately describes what Bella or what Comfort or what Gildan says the hex code is. And I do just want to say, I always say this whenever we're talking about color or mockups in any of my videos or whatever else, a mockup's a mockup. Like, you're not going to know unless you order it. Unfortunately, it's just how it works. But we're going to do our best to get it super close for you.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
That's awesome.
That's great.
That's really cool.
So yeah, I mean, in that same kind of, you know, vein, on that note, talking about feature requests and features that are coming and in the future, what does it look like as far as Kittl's plans for scaling and growing? Can you speak to a little bit of more of what's on the horizon for Kittl as a company, as a product, and what we can kind of look forward to?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have, kind of as I mentioned before, we have so many features upcoming that I think are going to be monumental for more than just print on demand, but still applicable to print on demand. One, for example, is we're getting ready, prepping to release multiple artboards, which I know has been that was my day one, was like, how do I make a separate artboard? Like back in the UX, back in the beta testing, I was like, how do I make a separate artboard? And they're like, oh, we can't do it right now, but that's coming. So what's really important about that, for example, is if you wanted to make a digital product, which I know is not print on demand, but I like to do both. I know a lot of creators like to do both, especially if they have an Etsy. Great. You can make a whole coloring book if you want. Just duplicate all the pages, do your illustrations, whatever. But what's also nice about print on demand is now you can take your one shirt design, duplicate the artboard, make the sticker size, put it where you need it. Duplicate it, make the magnet size, duplicate it, make the cup size, whatever, right? All in one project. Right now, it is a little messy because you have to go duplicate your project. And of course, you can make a folder, which is what we've been advising for a long time, is, hey, select your projects, put them in a folder, name it Tiger Design 1 or whatever. But now you'll be able to just have it all in one, similar to Illustrator or Affinity or whatever else, as well as more advanced tools that give creators more freedom, like a drawing tool. an eraser tool, right? Things where you
Mhm.
give you super high editability over specific things that you want to tweak in a design that right now perhaps might be a little bit limited. I don't think Kittl is very limited, but I can see how if you're like an absolute master at Illustrator or something,
Sure. Yeah.
perhaps it feels limited. Things like what we call legitimate clipping masks. Right now, you can clip mask texture, but you can't, for example, say, I just want it on the text, or I just want it on this beaver head or whatever. Things like that is coming, right? So there's so much that's something to speak about the AI side, which tons are coming for that,
Yeah.
When will we have different sizes? I can't tell you, but it's coming, right? All of these things that you would probably be dreaming of, I've been dreaming with you. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
there's such an like, we call it the wish list. Like, the wish list is so long, like, and it's good, right? So as we scale and we bring on more team, that helps us get it out even faster, and then we're able to make the wish list even bigger, right?
Man, you got me drooling over
That's
here.
good. That's what we want.
That's great. Awesome. Well, hey, we're going to go to a couple different segments. The first one is everyone's favorite segment of every show that we've done so far. And that is the weekly dad joke.
Time for the weekly dad joke.
All right. So you are the guest, and we will have you present your dad joke first.
Perfect. Okay. You may have heard this one already, but what did the ocean say to the beach? Nothing. He just waved.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Love it. All right, Travis, you're gonna bring ours today.
All right. So I've always wondered, I mean, it's a weird thing to wonder, but I've always wondered where superheroes shop. And I recently found this website that shared kind of the shopping habits of different superheroes. And so I just wanted to read off a couple here. So apparently Superman shops at the supermarket.
That makes sense.
Spider-Man shops on the web.
Mm-hmm.
Wonder Woman orders from Amazon.
Accurate.
Hawkeye shops at Target.
Uh-huh.
Nice.
And Batman, he shops on the dark web.
Very good.
He sure does.
There you go.
How else do you think you get all the gadgets that he has? That's not
Right.
available anywhere
No,
else.
you can't get that.
No.
That's not an Amazon product. No, you got to go to the
No.
dark web for that.
Dark
That's
web.
like
Safe search.
that's like 5 dad
incognito
jokes in
tab.
one.
Yeah, it's
You
pretty
know?
It
good.
is. Yeah,
That is
was a
5.
lot.
Yeah, that is a lot.
We can take the
You
next
guys-
month off of dad jokes now.
Yeah.
because
We never would do that to our
No. It's true.
audience. No way.
Awesome. All right. Well, the next segment, Drew, is a list of questions that Travis and I pick maybe 2 or 3 out of, and ask each guest that we have the same questions. And this segment is called the Magic Questions. Hey, Travis, which ones?
Okay. I am going to start. I'm going to ask, tell us about something that happened in Kittl specifically, if you can, figure that out, that felt like a failure, like something that just totally just blew up in your face, or something that was just really bad. And you're like, oh my gosh. And then how did you handle that?
That's tough. Kittl's perfect. No, I'm just kidding. Well, I guess something that felt like a total failure. Well, I mean, that's tough because bugs happen and things go down, and then it's like kind of have to wait till it comes back up. But I guess one thing that kind of feels off right now that we are still not quite finished yet is how to save. Seems very basic, but how to save your like a design that you like. So when you're like, when you're perusing, a lot of people are getting confused because they're hearting a design, but that doesn't save it. So that is a little bit of an oversight. because to save it, there's a separate little section where you have to go and save it, which logically felt right, but it's not. So we have so many comments that are like, please tell me I didn't just heart 30 designs and I can't find them. And I'm like, oh, dude, dang, you know? So
Yeah.
that will be fixed very soon. That's the best I can, that's the best I can think.
Hey, that's
Quickly.
that's exactly what we're looking for. Something that, felt like something that screwed up, and then, you got to
Yeah.
get back on track. You got to make something
Right.
work that didn't work before.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So the next one for me, I want to talk a little bit about what brought you to Kittl, which was the Heritage Type Co. because you were involved in that. So what about typography? And you said a line earlier that I thought was interesting. I've never heard it before, but
Okay.
font is the clothes that our words wear, which I think is a fascinating approach
Okay.
to thinking about font. But what was it about typography and font that you decided to really hone in on, or to make that kind of your area of expertise, for lack of a better term? But you kind of said you kind of emphasized that
Yeah.
in the beginning. What is it about typography and font that drew you to it to really focus on?
Yeah, I think for me, it kind of dates back, which I know isn't super long ago because I'm not super old, but I guess it goes back to being in college and seeing, like, I don't know, like different books or different things that just felt not right somehow, like like what I would now call hierarchy. I didn't know the word at the time because I didn't get into design until I was in college. And just being like, something's weird, like this just doesn't look good. Like whether it's the font of a paper or a handout or a book or whatever it is. And I started just going on YouTube to look at different things because I was starting to get involved in web design, UX design, which type is so important for headlines and things like that. So I kind of attribute all of wanting to get into it from this YouTube channel called The Future, not with an E, it's Futur. And this man named Chris Doe is a brilliant designer, teacher, educator, teaches at Art Center out in California, has just amazing information on typography. I bought his class and went through just the essentials of type, the basics of type, understanding it. And that's where I got that quote from. I stole it from him. So he would say type is the clothes that our words wear, right? So you need to be thinking about it really specifically, and it needs to be important to you. So what does it communicate, right? Words are so important, right? They're the means by which we communicate things. So why would you not take great care in visualizing it, right? We take lots of care with storytelling.
Yeah.
We take lots of care with the books we write, for example. Why would we not take care with how we would personify or express that visually? And I think just those videos and that class I took with The Future, which anybody can go check out on YouTube, it's called Futur. Fantastic source for designers, especially designers trying to learn the business side of design, which is can get messy and needing to know how to do things, because all we want to do is design all day. We don't want to figure out the business side of it. So I would say it's very, very vital for that.
Yeah, that's a great answer. I think there's so many people that, just go on Etsy and search and go to like the third or fourth page of a particular search for a specific kind of t-shirt, and you'll start seeing exactly what you're talking about. Just you can have this amazing design,
Sure.
but it's like Arial font, which just totally does not fit. It might not be Arial, but you get the idea.
Yeah.
That there is something to use the cohesion between font and design that may or may not come naturally to you. And if it doesn't come naturally to you, do yourself a favor and learn about it, because your business will suffer because your designs just aren't up to snuff compared to people who it either does come naturally to them, or they've studied it also and they understand that relationship between design and font, and typography. So that's really cool. That's a golden nugget, guys. FUTR on YouTube. Go check it out.
FUTUR, sorry. FUTUR.
Oh, FUTUR. Okay. Futur. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Last magic question, and then we'll let you get out of here, Drew. this is our crystal ball question, and we ask it to a lot of people. What do you think the future of the print-on-demand industry looks like?
It definitely looks like more types of products. We have relationships with several print-on-demand providers, and we know from talking to them, I don't know if this is illegal to say or not, I guess. Maybe I'm spilling vital information. But I just know that they are working on being able to print on so many different things that you wouldn't, like an ice bucket, for example. Like, I'm pretty sure with Printify, you can literally like custom design an ice bucket. Like, why? Like, why? I don't know.
Yeah.
But like just things that you would probably commonly just go to Walmart or wherever you are in the world, whatever your local kind of superstore is, and products that you might just pick up, like you can now find it custom. Like I have next to me, I have a mat, like a kind of squishy mat I stand on for my standing desk. I guarantee you, and in the next couple months, you can find that custom printed. Like you can custom print on Print on Demand your own standing mat. That's what it's called, I guess. And then one thing that I will say that I I listen to a lot of podcasts. I kind of have to make sure I know what's up. I was listening to one with the CEO of Everbee, which is for Etsy. It's like a SEO tool for Etsy. And he was just suggesting, he didn't give any numbers, but he said, as we've looked at the data, and this was recent, so this was last week it came out. He's like, as we looked at the data and have seen the viewership and the actual sales conversions on Etsy, he says, this is a statement he said, I believe the future of print on demand is going to be on Etsy. Like you're going to see lots of more people get on Etsy, integrating multiple different kinds of shops. Now I know you can do jewelry, you can do custom with like Shine On or whatever, you can do print on demand jewelry. So I would say that
styles.
Etsy is super, it can feel like a black box, I know, and it can feel overwhelming, but I would encourage anybody that if they've only been focusing on Redbubble, or if they've only been focusing on TeePublic or something, to really just also kind of do it on Etsy. I think if you can really get in and do a little bit of the SEO work, you have a captive audience, similar to Amazon. But I know it's really difficult to get approved on Amazon. I've actually been rejected to Amazon as well, so I get it. Like it takes a long time to get approved. So I don't know. I guess that would be its products, and then I think Etsy is a good idea. I don't know.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Well, that's great. Yeah. So as we're wrapping up here, why don't you share a little bit about where people can find you and find the content you're creating around Kittl and all of that?
Absolutely. First and foremost, of course, Kittl, you can find the link to try Kittl with the code, as well as just the link to view the website. It's kittl.com. Pretty easy. If you want to find me and content that we're doing, teaching for Kittl, first and foremost is going to be, or I guess second most, is going to be YouTube. That's where I'm at all the time. We're uploading a video almost every day now. We're getting pretty close to being every day, but it's about 6 videos a week. We have things like quick tips. We have things like new feature updates that I do that are coming out. One just came out today. New feature came out today. We do long tutorials on a specific set of niches. Print on demand, I have a tutorial coming Thursday on a full Kittl plus Printify plus Etsy. So kind of what I was just talking about. It's a full masterclass of how you go from Kittl into Printify into Etsy, and how you would do that whole process. And after that, we have all the things that you would think of. We have Instagram, we have Twitter, we have TikTok, we have Pinterest. All are at Kittl Design, Kittl Design. They're all the same. So / at Kittl Design, they're all the same. So you can find us all there. And we also have a Discord. I may have forgot to give you all the Discord, but we have a Discord as well. You can find those in all of the links of the YouTube videos as well. You can find the link to the Discord. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Nice.
Dude, awesome. Yeah, and just to remind you guys, it's printondemandcast.com/Kittl, Kittl.
Yes.
And then that code will be in the show notes once this goes out tomorrow, and you guys can get a free trial. Check this thing out. Check it, check the pro account out and take it for a spin, see what you can do. And based on this interview, I think you're going to keep it.
Yeah,
for your free
sure.
trial.
I hope so.
For sure.
I hope
sure.
so.
Awesome. Well, hey, thanks, Drew, for taking the time to hop on the call. It was great being able to chat with you, and hopefully we'll be able to do it again in the future and learn more about everything that Kittl is doing. But until
Absolutely.
then, thanks for hopping on, man.
Yes, thanks so much for letting me come on. It was a great talking to you all.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you bet.
We want to thank Drew again for coming onto the show, talking about Kittl. Super insightful. To Travis's point before we went to the interview, Kittl does a lot more than we thought it did, and so really exciting. Even the stuff he's talking about, that's not even for print on demand, but for designers. I mean, there's so much there if you're wanting to use it to leverage, whether you do design for a company or for whatever that looks like. I mean, Kittl seems like a great solution, and I'm looking forward to hopping on coffee with Kittl in the future so he can ask us the questions and put the screws to us as we did to him on this episode.
Yeah, I'm super stoked about that. Kind of the mock-up generator part of it and the AI and using that AI product generator feature. I haven't really looked into it much, but when I did first, see their mock-up thing, they only had a handful of products. So I want to check it out again. I'm really excited that they're considering like having, all of those, the palette of 3001 colors, or whatever, that you can just quickly get the hex code and then output your mock-up and, all of that stuff. There's a lot of cool things, not only that it already does, but a lot of cool things that coming down the pike. And, he talked a lot about that. I won't belabor it, but, it seems like they've got a great roadmap or a wish list, I guess, as he called it, for new features. And even though it's, already doing a lot of really cool things, I can see it really blowing up even more as people realize how easy this is to design with this tool and output really quality things. And I like the idea. I think part of their kind of desire for the product is that everything can be done in one product. And so you don't have to go over to place it to get your mock-ups, you can do it right there. And as they continue to focus on, being an all-in-one tool for print on demand, I think they're going to come up with a lot of really cool, innovative things that Kittl can do that you might need 2 or 3 or 4 tools to do otherwise. So looking forward to seeing, the future of that product.
For sure. And we look forward to having him back on the show to catch up with him again as Kittl continues to grow and to evolve. So super, super excited. And we want to thank you guys for tuning in and for listening to this episode. If you have a question for us about the episode or you want to know more information, PRINTONDEMANDCAST.com/Facebook is where you can go to join the group, join the conversation, join the family, and ask your questions. If you've used Kittl and you have more insight and more tips and tricks that you'd want to share, it is welcome there as well. We're also on Instagram, PRINTONDEMANDCAST.com/Instagram and /YouTube is where you can go to find more content about the show. Of course, you can go to PRINTONDEMANDCAST.com, sign up for the newsletter, get your extra dad joke, get more information each and every week that's above and beyond what is here in the episode. And then PRINTONDEMANDCAST.com/Kittl is where you can go. Remember, we're going to have a code for you to get a free trial of the Pro version, which is going to be awesome, and you're probably going to want to keep it. And again, we don't really know how long the trial will last, but we're guessing probably anywhere within 7 days or so. So probably about a week from the time this is dropped that you will have the ability to go and take advantage of that free trial. And from everything you heard in this episode, trust me, you're gonna want to do that. So and as always, as I mentioned at the top of the show, wherever there are podcasts, the PODcast is there for you. So if you guys would do us a favor, leave a review. If you're on Apple, you can leave a star review and a comment. If you're on Spotify, you can leave a star review. But it helps the algorithm and helps us get out in front to the people who need this information. And if you know someone that's been dabbling with the print on demand game and they're thinking, I don't know how to do the design aspect of it, share this episode with them because they would greatly benefit from the information that Drew shared with us today. So Travis, anything else before we put a bow on this one and send it home?
I don't think so. I think you covered it all. Good job.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us. Until next time, for Travis, I'm Josiah. We'll see you right here on the Print on Demand Cast.
See ya.
Hey, babe, thanks for listening to this week's episode of the Print on Demand Cast. We hope you enjoyed the Totally Tubular Show. If you got a question or a suggestion for the show, send Travis and Josiah an email at info@printondemandcast.com. Want to be wicked nice? Take a minute to rate and review the show on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. And don't forget to subscribe now so you don't miss next week's episode. See you next time, for sure.